ready for news?
I'm ready for news. Yes, I think I am ready for news.
It's everywhere today.
I love news.
Garrett Crochet
The
extension
newsman.
last night?
Yeah, that was out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere?
I was told he wasn't going to negotiate
No,
during the season. I thought they had a deadline of opening day.
Nope.
It didn't get done.
He is not going to talk to the Red Sox in season. Oh, wait. Woo. Wasn't even a full week before that got blown up.
That's all right.
So
they saw enough in that one start.
They did.
Yeah.
It was pedestrian enough where they said, here you go. Here's $170 million.
Okay.
So Crochet locked up. Robert Kraft also spoke today in Florida.
Yes, he did.
So Patriots news out there today as well. Where do you want to start? We'll get to both here in the opening segment. Jones and Keefe on WEEI. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, we'll have a lot on both. I say we start with the Garrett Crochet signing because I think it's a great signing for the team. Like, this has been quite an offseason, and not to ignore and completely forget about the past several years for the Red Sox and their spending, but if you're just focusing on this year, they get Alex Bregman. They sign him to a massive, average annual deal. I know there's opt-outs, but that was a big commitment to Alex Bregman. They throw good money for a year at Walker Buehler, but this was the piece. This was the one where you said, all right, this is a chance to have a real ace for a long time, and when you traded for him, he had 2 years of control. And so you're like, all right, is this going to be a guy that's here for 2 years and then gets a massive payday somewhere else, and they're not going to be willing to commit the kind of money it is to do that? And then we were also trying to figure out what's a fair deal because he has 2 years at cheap money. So is he looking for the max free deal? Is that something that any team would give him? You're also bidding against yourself. So, what were the Red Sox going to do? How much would they be willing to give him? Would they try to cheap out here? Would they look for the value? And no, they gave him a really, really good deal. And yet I also think it's good for the team. I think Crochet, if he played hardball, he would have had to bet on himself and health, but could have made more money over the long term if he kind of waited it out a little bit. But I was thrilled to see that last night. Locking this guy up. He's 25 years old. He was one of the, 10 best pitchers in baseball. I love it.
So I do too. And I was shocked when it came down. We said, last week, a couple of weeks ago, we've been talking about the Max Fried deal or the Corbin Burns deal and, well, whether or not Garrett Crochet would take it. My contention was if the team offered him that kind of deal, then I would be on the team side. I thought that would be a fair deal to offer, and I thought Crochet would be foolish not to take that. And I just never expected the Red Sox to be at that point. I didn't think they would offer that kind of money. Now, it turns out I was half right. They weren't offering that contract.
No, they didn't need to.
But Garrett Crochet, and it speaks to, on some level, Keefe, his fears about, well, the track record of never having done it before. It speaks to the fears about his health track record, which is spotty at best. But I do think this is a good deal for the Red Sox. And this is why I said to John Henry, look, if you're okay with playing it out, John, and stretching this out and paying $200, $250, $300 million, well, then go ahead and put this off until next offseason or put it off until the end of the deal and give him a Yamamoto contract or something approaching that $350 million if you want to wait. But the price is only going up. So if you want a deal and you're telling me you're not going to pay Y, well, then you better pay X right now. And credit to the Red Sox for doing that. So Jeff Passan had the details last night. You heard some of them off the top. Garrett Crochet and the Red Sox, it's a 6-year agreement. $170 million is the extension. The deal starts in 2026, so the Red Sox have some cost certainty the next couple of years before that extension kicks in.
Right, yeah, because he's pretty cheap this year.
This year, rather, before it kicks in next year. It includes an opt-out after 2030. By far the largest deal ever for a pitcher with 4+ years of service. That surpasses Jake DeGrom, who the Red Sox saw the other day. He got 5 years, $138 million. A few years back. So Crochet can hit the market again as a 31-year-old and try to get the same deal that Fried got and cash in at $250 million or whatever. The point is, getting paid now with the opt-out gives him an opportunity to hit the market again. If he's an ace, it gives the Red Sox cost certainty.
Yeah.
And I would say, and you brought this up before, Keefe, especially about young players who rush to get the deal. You have questions about whether or not they fully believe in themselves. Do you have any of that question at all about Crochet? Because I would say this is more team-friendly than player-friendly.
Yeah.
Which surprises me. I thought Crochet would have been a little more dug in.
Me too. It surprises me slightly on his end, but I wonder if he's just looking at it and saying, I've had a million injuries, and now I can kind of put this to the side.
And I can blow out my arm at any second, and now I can just pitch.
So it is, because I think you brought this up before, too, when we were talking about the difference between, like, say, Rafaela, Casas, Bayo. All these guys have been offered something. Bayo and Rafaela took it. Casas did not. And now Crochet is. But he has had, a slower start to his career because of all these different injuries. You mentioned Jacob deGrom. When Jacob deGrom signed that deal in 2019, he'd already won 1 or 2 Cy Youngs. He was like Rookie of the Year. Like, he had an established track record where he was filthy. As much as you and I both like Crochet, and as much as the Red Sox like Crochet, this is mostly based on projection. Like, he hasn't done it for a full season ever.
DeGrom was way more established.
That's why players like this don't get these deals. So on that side, I'm saying, well, that is a good deal for the team, but it's also like a record-setting deal, like as you just read. So I guess Crochet probably factors all that in and realizes he has a chance to opt out when he is 30, I believe, right? If you do the math right, I think he'd be 30 years old when he opts out, which is the same age or even a little bit younger than guys like Burns and Fried and others who still sign massive deals. So in that sense, maybe I understand why he's like, all right, I'll get a big boost, not for this year, but starting next year, whatever he would have gotten in arbitration is going to be double or maybe 3 times as much. So I in that sense, I guess I get it.
So what do you think? 617-779-7937. Garrett Crochet tied to the Red Sox now for another 5 years. And so they spent the money. I think it's team-friendly. But I understand the cost control for Garrett Crochet, and I would applaud the Red Sox if this is their plan, and they said this is their plan, and maybe this is evidence of John Henry turning a corner. We're going to lock up our young core. They're trying to do it with Campbell. They did it with, as you said, Rafaela and Bayo. They're trying to do it with Casas, maybe not as successfully. We're going to lock these guys up, and we're not going to spend 40, 45, 50 million a year in free agency. We're not doing that. So, okay, you're not going to do that. That's fine. There are other ways to flex your muscles when it comes to the financials. And the Red Sox have a big, big advantage over most of baseball when it comes to bottom line, how profitable they are, the deep pockets they have. This is another way to do it. And if this is how you want to do it, to avoid spending $300 million on a pitcher in free agency, trade for him, use your farm system, Teal and Montgomery out, Crochet in, you extend them. That's a great plan. And if this is what the Red Sox are going to start doing going forward, I'd applaud them for that.
That's a good sign.
They are putting their money where their mouth is on that plan finally. And so I don't want to give them too much credit. I don't want to get too far ahead of it. They are still 1-4 and have sucked to start the year. But this,
there is that.
This I like. This is what we were begging for from the second they acquired Crochet. And now they've done it. So good for them.
Yeah, and I think it was already a win, and I was glad that they traded Kyle Teal, as great of a prospect as he is. I was like, listen, you can't keep all your prospects. So they traded Kyle Teal, and they got him. And if you said, would you trade Kyle Teal, and we don't know what kind of player he's going to be. He could be a perennial all-star, and you got 2 years of Crochet. I'd say, well, still worth the risk. Like, let's do it. But if you're getting Crochet for 6 years, minimum 6 years for Kyle Teal, then it's a no-brainer. An absolute no-brainer for bringing him in. And so, yeah, I thought it was great. And maybe it's the sign of, some of their older spending techniques, when they used to be in on everybody and they would be willing to make trades, they'd be willing to sign big extensions. Maybe there's a little bit of a throwback to that.
I saw John Lyons tweeting about this last night. It seems like their spending has changed a little bit in the last year. You know who's back?
Theo.
Yeah.
And
maybe. So look, I don't want to kick John Henry, then he spends his money and give Theo all the credit for it.
Well, I mean, if anybody could convince him, maybe it is Theo. All right, fine. Yeah, whoever it is, I'll take it.
So is John Henry turning over a new leaf? 617-779-7937, or at least going back to the way they used to spend. Your thoughts on the Garrett Crochet extension? That's one story we're discussing here on Jones and Keefe on what is a Tier Tuesday, rather.
Yeah.
Coming up at 11:30, we'll tear off all of the top April Fool's pranks.
How about that?
These are not radio pranks.
We're not doing them.
Mike Thomas, if you're listening, these are not radio pranks we're going to be doing.
We're not doing any of them.
No.
We're not doing a single one of them. We're just going to we're just going to tier them. We have at least a dozen or so to get to, and we'll tier them.
We're going to tear off some good April Fool's Day hijinks out there. It is also a Tommy Tuesday. We'll talk to Tommy Curran. at high noon. Get his thoughts on Robert Kraft and his comments today. We have a Key for Madness for you at 12:45. And it is the first 2 for Tuesday here on WEEI. You want to win 2 tickets to see the Red Sox and the Cardinals on April 6th at Fenway Park. Make sure you're listening at 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. We'll be giving away a pair of tickets all day long here on Jones and Keefe. Hopefully you were listening today at 7 a.m. to the Greg Hill Show. He gave away a keyword, a code word, that you're going to need to repeat to Billy Lanny when this contest gets going. At 10:30, you're going to need to pass that code word back to Billy.
I like it.
If you happen to miss it, Odyssey app, AUDACY, go use the rewind feature. Go back and seek out what Greg said this morning at 7. Make sure you're listening next Tuesday at 7 to Greg Hill. You'll hear the code word. We'll do that at 10:30. 2 tickets to the Red Sox and Cardinals. We'll be doing it all day long here on a 2 for Tuesday on Jones and Keefe.